G'day, thanks for joining me here tonight. Alright, so tonight is going to be focused on a retrospective. A couple of days ago, I started porting an add-in to Microsoft Edge, and I've previously made add-ins before for Firefox and Chrome, but it's like 2 years ago, and the web moves on, so my knowledge needs to be updated. And tonight we'll be going through everything I've learned, and hopefully you'll learn something through what I've learned from what I succeeded and my failures. So first up first, here's the context. It all kind of started out with this add-in, like this tweet. And I use this with Chrome. I have this extension I use called Don't Fuck with Paste. And what this extension does is it prevents web developers from overriding the copying and pasting into fields. So if you use a password manager, this is really, really important. And it's just such a bad practice to disable copying and pasting. So it all started out with this tweet. So, good mate Oren is like, I use Edge, and personally, I never really used Edge. I've used Chrome, and then I switched to Firefox, and the last 24 hours I've been using Edge, and I might try a week of using Edge. It's pretty cool. Most of my major gripes have kind of disappeared. I'm actually starting to enjoy it. We'll see how long it lasts. All right, so he uses Edge, and he had a need for this extension, and I would also need this extension if I was going to be using Edge. So like, this should be simple. How do we port this across? So it started with a need, and on the last stream I had 40 minutes to pull together a backlog, and I unfortunately did not finish the task because my children woke up. But this is the backlog that we had. All right, and the idea was really, really simple. We're going to pull down the source code, look at the tests, figure out which Chrome specific APIs are used, and then one for one port the APIs. And that kind of makes sense, but it turns out the web has moved on, and there's this draft standard called web extensions. So there's this web extensions or browser extensions, and whilst this is the Mozilla website, this is actually becoming a standard that's going to get ratified. And I found it really confusing at first because when I looked at the documentation for Edge HTML, it always kept pointing back to the Mozilla site, and that just didn't make any sense. And the APIs I had were all Chrome-based, but it turns out it started with the Chrome-based APIs, and they're starting to ratify the Chrome extension APIs more to something more generic, and they're going to have one type of browser extensions for all browsers. So this is going to be a standard. And because this is going to be a standard, I kind of didn't need to actually go down and like deep dive into each one of the APIs. So like, what have I learned? Like I've learned that there's new base APIs. All right. So one thing I kind of learned, it was really cool. It's kind of validating like live coding is a thing. As I disappeared into the rabbit hole of trying to port across these APIs, someone in the stream actually did some Googling for me asynchronously, and that was amazing. And what they found was actually there's a utility or a polyfill toolkit released by Microsoft that automatically ports the Chrome extensions to Edge. That was really cool. That validates that. It's just more evidence that live coding is cool, it's a thing, and we can do it together. So let's pull up this utility. I'm just going to show you the utility that Microsoft has made available to us. All right, here it is. So it's available in the store. It's called the Microsoft Edge Extension Converter Toolkit. It's in preview, but it works really, really well. So once you install this, what happens is you just point it towards an existing Google Chrome extension, and it provides polyfills for all the APIs. And specifically, when I say all the APIs, I'm talking about things like this, like chrome.browseraction.setIcon. And in this case, the logic of the application enables and disables the extension based on a match, whether it's enabled for the site or not, and it just changes the color of the icon. So this extension toolkit is really, really cool because it actually converts a Chrome extension into a extension that's compatible with Edge, and it ships a bunch of polyfills. So I'll show you what these polyfills are. So for the background script, it provides a bridge, and essentially it's just aliasing the APIs from Chrome specific to Edge specific. And there's two bridges. There's the background script bridge and the content script bridge. And both of those have been implemented, and then you just got to register them, and that's done in the manifest. That's down here. And so these to actually port this extension across actually required not much changes, right? And I had to run through this tool to convert the extension across, which put in this. By default, the extension when you use the polyfill, it uses a lot of like log.information or console.information, specifically when events are proxied through the bridge, and I've disabled that. That's probably one of the main changes. So I'm just going to load up the application. So something also I learned is how to actually enable developer mode. All right, so how developer mode is enabled is you go to About and then Flags. And right down here is Enable Developer Features you might like. And you need to restart the browser for this to take effect. So one tick, I'll just restart the browser. And thank you for joining in for the people who've just connected just then. Hi. If any other particular questions while I'm in certain areas, just let me know, and if I can answer, I will answer it. Otherwise, I'll direct you towards documentation and everything I've learned over the last 48 hours. All right, so developer mode is now enabled in Edge. What you got to do is you go to the top, these little dots, and go into extensions. And then by enabling the developer mode, you get this load extension button. Then you got to point it towards the unpacked extension. Edge uses packaging like Apex, very similar to how UWP is packaged, but that's a later part of distribution into the store. What you want to do is point it to just a directory that contains your source code, and that's just this. It's got your background worker, it's got your options, you get your manifest. All right, so this is now enabled. Don't frack with paste is now enabled. All right, so the extension is now installed, but it's not actually enabled. The logic, I've actually got to add a regex rule before it will turn the feature functionality on and off. So one of the things that went well, we're done. Like, the extension is done. I've just got to publish it into the App Store. All right, so it's been published to GitHub, but it's not actually in the store. Hey Kim, thanks for joining in. We're running through a quick retrospective of building an add-in for Microsoft Edge. So if you never used Microsoft Edge from a software development point of view and build an extension, hopefully learn some stuff, because I didn't know this 48 hours ago, and this is everything I've learned. All right, so the extension is called Don't Fark with Paste, and it is an extension that's typically available with Chrome and Firefox, but it hasn't been available in Edge. So last 24 hours, it's been porting that across so it works. All right, so it's up on GitHub. It's not in the store. Towards the end of the stream, I'll see and I'll read the documentation and see what's involved in publishing it. I've never done that, so if you have any insights on how to publish, you could probably research that in the background, because I haven't done that yet. Anyway, so let's just test the extension. It's been installed, it's been enabled, which is great. Cheers, Kim. That's really good feedback. Thanks, mate. All right, so I copied a test into JS Fiddle, and by default, this JS Fiddle prevents copy and pasting into form fields. So let's try this. And as expected, when I paste, it just doesn't work. So here's the extension up at the top right hand corner. Well, that way actually, got to get used to that. In the top right hand corner, there's this icon, and it automatically evaluates when you switch between tabs. Part of the business logic, it actually does a match based on the active tab that's over here. And if it matches the rule for enablement, it will enable copy and pasting and override anything that someone's enforced upon you. All right, so let's add a match. Cool. So when there is a match, the icon changes to blue and the title changes to active. If I switch across to another tab, it goes back to gray and then it's deactivated. So now I should be able to copy and paste this field. Done. Boom. So Oren, here you go. Here is an extension that allows you to change copy and pasting. It's not in the App Store, but you can install it right now. It's on GitHub. If you just clone down this repository, which is github.com/ghuntley/don't fark with paste, it's done. Apart from that, it's really, really cool. It's short little 24-hour, 48-hour little hack, and it put my knowledge up to speed of what's involved in making an extension. Yeah, so One thing I could probably show before I wrap this up, I'm gonna like drop this session and create a new session because I'm about to do some PR triaging. Ha! Really? I haven't been following the sport. Congratulations to France. Hello, Gelatin. Welcome to the stream. I'll quickly run you through how to debug an extension and everything I've learned about developing an add-in for Edge. So first up first, there's this toolkit that automatically does the conversion for you from Chrome. That's this thing. And once that's installed, you've enabled the flags for debug mode, and then open up the options to install it. You then, if you head over here to developer tools, so head over here to extensions, and click on that little like cog, you get this debug menu for extensions. And this is really important, is this background page. The background page is the main, it's the heart of the application. This is how the extensions work. So I'm going to tap this link. It's going to pop up an Edge developer tools window, and that allows me to breakpoint and step debug the entire thing. So got to get used to that. It's inverted. When you open up the debug menu, and you can actually access the extension, and this is the actual extension that's running from the local file system. From here, we can just we've got a full REPL. We can debug. We can look at stack traces. We've got everything. So if I switch between my tabs, it's going to trigger, and there's no match because I don't have GitHub added. So if we continue execution and switch back to JS Fiddle, we got a match. It works. It's that simple. It's really simple to do software development and debug extensions with Edge. So that's been cool. Thanks for joining in. I'm about to drop this and create a new stream in a couple of moments' time, and I'm going to be reviewing some pull requests. I've got about an hour before I've got to head off. So thanks for jumping in. I hope you've learned some stuff about Edge. If you've got any feedback, please let me know. I've been working a lot on audio levels. Hopefully they're better now. Thank you.